Welcome back, everyone, to Conversations Live. I'm your host, Cyrus Webb. Glad you all could join us once again. For our radio audience tuning in at WYAD 94.1 FM and WYADonline.com, we're glad that you all can be with us. Also, tuning in to our friends at iHeartRadio and Amazon Music, we're glad you all could join us as well. Well, as we've been spotlighting individuals who've been able to not only to walk in their purpose but use their gifts, I'm really excited about this next segment. We're excited to have joining us today award-winning narrator and actress Bahni Turpin. I want to talk to Bahni not only about her own journey, being able to use her voice literally to touch people around the world, but also what it's been like for her to trust the gift that she's been given and to share it with us as well. If you all are not following Bahni, we will let you guys know the best place to be able to find her. Bahni, thank you again for the time. Really appreciate it.
I'm happy to be here. Thank you so much for the invite.
Look, the pleasure is definitely all mine. I should mention, Bahni, because I don't think our mutual friend Melissa knew this when she set this up. I'm also one of Amazon's on-camera hosts for Amazon Live on Amazon.com. So I was very familiar with your work before she set up this segment. So it's really exciting to be able to speak with you as a big reader and, of course, an individual who loves to enjoy Audible as well. What has that been like for you, Bahni, to be able to have discovered your gift and then to be able to see the people you've been able to reach with it?
It's been amazing. This kind of, you've probably heard that I kind of fell into narration unexpectedly. It just was an opportunity that I followed, and I, thought it was nice work when it would come along. And then I ended up getting a lot of notice for various projects that I did, and so it just sort of snowballed from there. So it was all a surprise to me.
Right. Well, I mentioned, Bahni, in my introduction that you were an award-winning narrator and actress, but one thing that, of course, I think our audience knows, we've had, some great narrators on our program in the past, and is that they kind of share with us and remind us that narration is acting as well. Has that been part of the conversation you've been a part of, too, that to let people know that what you've been able to do with your voice is really an extension of what you've been able to do as a creative as well?
Absolutely. And, I get all kinds of people calling me saying, how can I get into narration? And my first question is, are you an actor? Are you an actor? Because it's not just reading.
Right.
If you're doing a nonfiction book, you might not have to do a whole lot of acting. But if you're going to narrate fiction, you're going to be playing all of the characters in the book.
And that part of it for you, Bahni, was that something that was one of the attractive elements of it for you, that you got to really to show your range as an actor through narration?
I never said, I think I'll get into audiobook narration because I can play a lot of different characters. No, it was presented to me as, oh, hey, they're looking for people to read these books on tape, and I called the number and I auditioned and they hired me eventually. And it was all brand. I never listened to audiobooks before I started narrating. So it was all a new thing to me. I didn't go into it. It came to me.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, like so many other elements of the creative process and the industry, the literary industry, we've definitely have seen, I think, the rise, especially of audiobooks. Bahni, that's one of the things I've definitely noticed in the past 5 years, in particular, especially during the pandemic and afterwards. It's like people really turn. My best friend does not pick up books. I'm a person, I primarily like to actually pick up the book, or I may get a Kindle, but audiobooks are not my preferred way of, unless I'm traveling. My best friend, he's commuting 2 hours a day, so he's always listening to audiobooks. What has that been like for you to hear from stories of those who've enjoyed not only, of course, the books, but also enjoyed the way you've been able to bring the book to life?
It's great. It's always great to receive praise for your work, but I have developed a love of audiobooks myself, and I have to remind myself to listen to music now. Listening to talking and long enough. Listen to the music. But, so I listen to them all the time. I listen to podcasts. I listen to audiobooks. I love stories.
And that love of stories, of course, has definitely gotten you recognized. You've also, of course, as I mentioned, have been able to win awards. And I saw a clip of an interview you did, Bonnie, when I was prepping for this. And this was not, of course, as you said, just like going into narration was not the goal. Winning awards was not something. You genuinely love it. Talk to us about that, how that has helped to sustain you, because it is, like so many other industries, like we hear about, it is ever changing. What has that been like for you to know that the love is there in spite of everything?
It's been really good, because I've been an actress a long time. I've been working as an actress probably since 1983 or something, and pursuing it professionally since then. And I haven't always had the success that I had in narration. So it feels really good to finally get some recognition for what I'm able to do.
And I think that is it. And you then also, I've noticed, Bonnie, another thing I noticed in my prep was that you've been able to inspire others. Talk to us about that. I mean, it's one thing, I think, to find something that you genuinely love and enjoy and are passionate about, but to have people look at you and say, you know what, if she's able to do it, that gives me hope. How does that feel to know that you've been able to help to keep people motivated?
I don't know. I don't know. I kind of feel like sometimes I feel like people think it's, all you do is read. I can do that. You know what I mean? Like they don't really know what's involved and what goes into and what it is to play a role. I mean, I have relatives who called and said, hey, how can I start? Because I can read. I can read. And I'm like, well, can you act? I mean,
right.
And it's great to feel that my work inspires anyone, but I mean, I don't know what else to say about it. It feels good. I don't know. Yeah.
So, and I love the fact, because you mentioned this now a couple of times, Bunny, and I think this is the funny thing, right? It's almost like people who may tell a recording artist, I can sing, how can I get on? Or so, that people don't realize the process. Talk to us about that, because as you said, you were not someone who was into audiobooks or into narrations that way. What has it been like for you to not only to stay up on it yourself, but also to make sure that you are, just like an actor would do, make sure that you are kind of staying up on the game as well?
Well, you said sometimes people think, I can sing, why can't I do such and such? But that's totally different. Yeah. Singing is if you can sing, then maybe you can perform. But reading, just someone who can read is not necessarily a narrator.
Right.
I studied acting from the time I was 9 years old until, the mid-'80s. I think I took some acting classes when I came to L.A., but not many. I had studied long and hard. So I've been pursuing this my whole life, acting. And when I read a book, I am acting. I am entering into characters and trying to bring them to life. So sometimes I decide beforehand who the character is going to sound like, but I certainly always have an impression of who the character is and what they are like. But a lot of it happens in the booth. A lot of it happens off the cuff. I mean, you have some books that have hundreds of characters, right, like Moon Witch Spider King. That was a real challenge. And they were Africans and different, all these different people, hundreds of them, and like a 500-page book. And, some of those weren't decided beforehand. The main characters may have been, but some of them I had to come up with something on the spot.
Amazing. Amazing. And you've been able to have a great variety that you've been able to be known for, Bunny, which has to be fun for you as well to know that you have that opportunity to play in a lot of different places when it comes to narration. For yourself, as we're kind of thinking about this interesting place that we're having this conversation for our radio audience and those joining us through Heart Radio, of course, we're wrapping up what is looked at as Women's History Month, Women's Empowerment Month. It is also, of course, recognized, of course, as to be yourself month, to be able to recognize yourself and who you are. What has that part been like for you? Stepping aside from narration, just to be able to look at yourself and be proud of who you are and who you've become.
This is an interesting question, Cyrus. What is it like for me to be myself?
Yeah.
I've been doing it for a long time.
Well, I mean, to be fair, Bunny, we know that people are not always themselves, though, right? I mean, they're not. I mean, we see them, but they're not always being authentically themselves. So I'm asking you, what is it like for you to step out and be proud of who you are?
What is it like to step out? I don't step out to be myself. I am myself. I am very much in touch with myself. I meditate every morning. I connect with my inner spirit. I am myself. And when I'm acting, I am myself playing a character. Does that make sense?
Got you. So losing yourself has never been something you've had to wrestle with.
No. I was trained not to do that. I was trained by one of my favorite acting teachers, Barbara Poitier, that once the scene is over, drop it. You don't hold on to that.
Has that been easy for you to do?
Yeah, that's what I was taught. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I know that there's actors who they say stay in character the whole length that they're filming a film. I wouldn't do that. I think it would be detrimental to me. It might be great for the performance, but you need to be able to.
That's why I felt Bunny was a fair question, because I've talked to actors who have done that. so that's why I was curious, considering you've been able to read such a wide variety of works. What that process was like for you. So I appreciate you sharing that. So, because that is not always the case. There's not always the case. I talked to you go ahead.
It's reading. It's not in front of camera. So I'm reading the characters, but I'm not looking like the character. I'm not dressing like the character. My hair isn't done like the character. Some of these characters are Russians or Koreans or, men. I don't, I voice all the people. So, and I'm in a booth as me. It's not as complete a transformation as it would be if it was a film. You know what I mean? Got you.
Yeah. Fair enough. So what are you, as we're kind of going throughout this year then, Bonnie, is there anything in particular that you're excited about you want to share with our audience that's coming up?
Any books?
Yes.
Well, let's see. Recently, at the Audio Awards, I was nominated for a book by W.E.B. Du Bois called The Quest of the Silver Fleece. And prior to reading that, I had not known that Du Bois wrote fiction. And it was so beautiful. It was such a beautiful book. It's like a political love story. So that is, by now I'm sure it's available on Audible.
Okay.
Another book I did this past year that I've been singing the praises of is The Library of Broken Worlds by Elia Dawn Johnson. Really an unexpected kind of sci-fi fantasy, but epic, just amazing. Black author. I'm working right now on a young adult book. It might not even be young adult. It might be middle grade. I do a fair amount of kids' books.
Gotcha.
It's by Justina Ireland, who's another favorite of my authors. I've done a few of her books. Very creative, another Black female author. She writes stories that sometimes seem like historical fiction, but then there'll be zombies or something, totally unexpected. In one of the books, it's shortly after slavery, and young Black women are being trained to be protectors for young white women from the zombies. So they're learning how to fight the zombies, and it was great. Dread Nation, and I've done even some short stories of hers. There's another one called The Deathless Divide. This one that I'm working now is called Tales from Cabin 23, The Buhag Flex. Has a little bit of a scariness to it, and I'm doing it.
Awesome. Well, that's some great titles for our audience to be on the lookout for and to be able to add to their list for sure. Bonnie, great conversation with you today. How can our audience stay connected with you?
Well, I'm on Instagram as Bahni, BAHNI _Turpin, TURPIN. And you can also just go to Audible and put my name in and choose from over 400 titles.
There you go. Again, everyone, Bahni Turpin has been our guest. Bonnie, really appreciate the time. Congratulations again on all your success, and looking forward to speaking with you again.
Thank you so much.
Hey, more than welcome. And we thank your audience for tuning in to another great segment of Conversations Live. Until next time, I'm your host, Cyrus Webb, saying as always, enjoy your day, enjoy your life, enjoy your world. Thank you all for choosing Conversations Live. Let's go make today amazing. Take care.